The children are both the fruits of the parents, but the children are also the fruits of a society. So if you were a gardener, what kind of fruit would you try to harvest?
You may fear that the time may come when history repeats itself.
You have to want it bad enough. You have to want it bad enough to go out and fight for it. You have to work day and night for it. You have to give up your time, your peace, even your sleep for it. And you have to dream and scheme about it, because the life in this world and the next will be worthless without it.
We live in a highly unstable world. Unrest in the Middle East, wars that are threatening to engulf the entire world, a financial crisis the likes of which the world has never witnessed, and a general moral decline in our societies is pushing us closer to another world war. This is not the first time our world has been in turmoil. In 1929, after nearly 10 years of substantial economic growth, the bubble finally burst. Shares in the New York Stock Exchange tumbled, and the market lost 11% of its value in a single day. Nations became indebted beyond their capacity. The world was hit by a terrible crisis, which we know today as the Wall Street crash. This was to be a major contributor towards the start of World War II. Economic decline causes people and nations to become desperate, and the ties that hold people and nations together become strained. As a result of the unveiling crisis of the 30s, the major powers aggressively went after the smaller nations, putting justice to the rear and bringing national greed to the forefront. Alliances were formed, pushing the world into global conflict. Today, once again, we are witnessing the world treading on the same dangerous path. The economic situation has brought the same political volatility of the 30s. As people become desperate, they are losing trust in their political systems, resulting in protests, revolts, riots, and revolutions. Politically, we see that the financial crisis has made people think twice about putting their faith in politicians. This is a gift to the far-right parties of Europe, taking advantage of the desperation of the people. This is very similar to the situation which Hitler found himself in 1933 when he was elected as Chancellor of Germany. It is said that one of the major reasons why the German people voted for Hitler was the fact that the country was in dire straits. People were jobless, and the economy was in ruins. Hitler and his party offered people a way out, a promise to make Germany great again, and the German people bought it. Fast forward to the present day, and we find the euro currency in trouble and struggling to stay afloat. In a desperate attempt to save the currency, Eurozone countries are implementing austerity packages, which involve huge government cuts and, in some cases, tax rises. Just as in 1933, the Eurozone economies are in ruins and people are facing extreme hardship. People are once again looking for someone to blame for their woes, but just as in 1933, it's the danger of ideological contamination of the parties in power that is a very real threat. Today the world stands in dire need of peace, because the sparks of war can be seen all around the world. Unrest in the Middle East and the global financial crisis which has crippled the world's economies has led to widespread panic and disillusionment amongst the world. Conflicts between countries on a small scale are threatening to erupt into a global conflict. We observe that the situation of the world today is similar to the situation in the 30s, both economically and politically. Globally, we find that almost every country is engaged in activities to either support or oppose other countries. The terrible consequences of the use of nuclear weapons still haunt Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If the sparks of war were to ignite again, we will witness the terrifying scenario of a third world war. And with numerous countries, both large and small, possessing nuclear weapons, such a war would undoubtedly have devastating consequences. The weapons available today are so destructive that they could lead to generation after generation of children being born with severe genetic or physical defects. Despite all the doom and gloom, the injustice, and the very real threat of a third world war, all is not lost. If the people of the world wake up and realize their wrongdoings, recognize their Creator, and bow down towards Him, then there is a chance to save the world from a terrible catastrophe. This will only happen when man recognizes his Creator, and only then will the rights of God's creation be discharged.